Welcome to the show, Corey.
Ria, thank you so much for having me. This is awesome. It's weird being on the other side, right? On the other side of the podcast, right?
That's right. I've had the fortunate opportunity to be on your podcast twice now.
Heck yeah, recurring guests.
um, just a little bit of background, because I wanted to ask you if you could explain for everyone. In Australia, we don't quite have, like, for me, I think that you're in the first line of defense. You know, we spoke about this while we're all in lockdown, and because you're in that hospital setting where you get to, you actually, your patients are chronically ill, and they have all sorts of health conditions. In Australia, we don't have that. So if you could explain a little bit how that works.
Yeah, absolutely. So as a primary care health coach, you know, my role or my job, there's many things that I do within my role, but what I'm passionate about is helping our patients who have chronic disease that come for uncontrolled diabetes, high blood pressure, cholesterol, you name it, to help them better understand their chronic disease. One, because you know the hospital that I work at, you know the health literacy of our patients is very low. We serve a lot of the underserved or underinsured population at my hospital. So really getting them to understand their chronic disease so they can realize the importance of it, and then just coaching them through proper nutrition, what exercise looks like, and really just coaching them and motivating them to improve those diseases. But so, yeah, I mean, in a sense, it is kind of that first line, in one way, and in another sense, it's like that. It's the last chance, right? Because a lot of these patients have seen their doctors every 3 months, every 6 months, once a year, whatever, and they have not improved. You know, so they may have, you know, 13 A1C or 8 A1C, and you're gaining weight, or their blood pressure is getting worse and worse. And then the doctor's like, you got to see the health coach, because there's only so much they can do as the physician, right? So they refer them to me, and I can take as much time as I need with them to get them to, hopefully to get them to better understand what's going on, and to really get to the root of the problem, because the physician, they don't have time to get to the root of the problem. I feel like with coaches or people in health and wellness who take more of a holistic approach, and you have like the more clinical, you know, physicians and things like that, they know the problem. Oh, their blood pressure is high, I need to give them this.
Yep.
And when it's not working, they're like, I got 100 other patients I gotta focus on too. I'm not saying they don't care about their patient.
Yep.
But you know, it's great to have, you know, a health coach, a part of that care team, that can take on that responsibility of getting to understand why they aren't eating well. Because sometimes, you know, with my experience, it's not always because they don't want to. It's because maybe they lack the income to buy, they feel they lack the income to buy healthy foods. So it's my job to show them how to navigate their situation and improve their diet. So it's a lot of that.
That's amazing. I really wish we had more of that here. There's a lot of avenues, and like you said, you know, as we call them, general practitioners and the doctors that the people go see when they're sick. You know, they present with the symptoms, and then that, you know, they only have a limited amount of time with them, so they do, I believe they do the best that they can, given that appointment time. But yeah, that referral out to someone to get the information is crucial for anyone making any sort of change. You know, knowing what to do. We're only as good as what we know what to do, even as coaches. So yeah, I think it's critical to have that kind of relationship, or I guess know how to be like, hey, look, I can't give you all the answers today, but I do recommend you seek someone who can give you more insight into how to take control of your nutrition, and then therefore your health. and congruity.
Yeah, absolutely. Because there are times where I'll be sitting with the patient and they'll start talking, and they may have, say for example, they have diabetes and that their diabetes is uncontrolled, and they know that their doctor and the diabetes educator told them that they need to reduce their carbs or watch their carbs or whatever, and they'll say, I'm doing what they told me, I'm watching my carbs, but then they start telling me all the foods that they're eating that are carbs, right? So they don't, and I'm like, I'm happy you're eating fruit, I'm getting like, I'm not mad at that, but fruit is a carb, and they have no idea. They're like, fruits are carbs? Or I'm like, yeah. So it's like little things like that where like you said, they don't know what they don't know. And no fault to them, but if that's why I'm here. That's my job, to get to understand what carbs are and proteins and things like that. So they know when they don't see me anymore, that they understand, okay, I can have an apple, but it is a carb. I need to watch everything else that I eat, and I need to look at other things that way. So yeah.
Well, the glucose, I mean, the body recognizes sugar is sugar in the body. It doesn't go, oh, that's a processed, oh, hang on, that's from fruit, or is that it doesn't know. It just says, oh, sugar has entered the system.
Yep.
Glucose,
Absolutely.
same,
Yep.
But I feel like we could probably go on and on about that. But the reason you're here today is because last time we spoke, we touched upon a topic that I feel we're both quite passionate about. And I feel like we probably could have spoke for another hour at least just about that. And I went, well, hold on, before we open Pandora's box, let's save that one. And and I'm going to open it today. So we often, and now in Australia, it's coming into summer season. So I'm already starting to hear from the people that are like, hey, I'm really keen on getting my summer body. And I was like, great. Summer's like now, like it's coming up. Like, you want your body tomorrow, right? Okay. And so people are constantly looking for that quick fix, that miracle diet, the magic pill that's going to give them the overnight success and the overnight results. And tell me about it. I mean, you probably see it too. People come to you and they've got, they're quite obese. We're not talking like just that, put on the COVID weight that I've seen a lot of as well, but it's like, no, this has been compounding for quite some time. What are your thoughts on this sort of quick fix mentality?
So I see it so much. And I feel like over the years go on, the more I see it. So even with the patients I see that have a lot of weight to lose, I'm talking like hundreds of pounds. Mm-hmm. They come to me and I'm explaining to them, what our goal, what we're going to be doing, what my expectations are, asking what their expectations. And when I get to that point, they're like, I really, I want to lose 20 pounds, by my next visit. And I'm like, okay. So I'm looking, and their next visit is next week. and I'm like, so I'm all about having great goals, but this is crazy. And I won't say that to them, but I'm like, you're not going to lose 20 pounds in a week. I mean, you could, depending on how much weight you lose. I have seen people lose drastic amounts of weight. And I have a story about that I'll tell in a minute.
Okay.
You'll roll your eyes so far behind your back, behind your head. Oh my God. But what it is like they take all this time of not taking care of their body or their health, and then they hit a wall. Like, oh my gosh, I got to take care of this today, like right now. And it needs to be changed tomorrow. And it's like, wait a minute, like you didn't gain 200, 300 pounds in a week. Like we have to really, this is going to take some time. And I'm thinking 100 pounds by a way later date than you are. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And even with people that don't really have a whole lot of weight to lose, I see it's like that anxiety about having to lose weight. Like I'm overweight, or I have this 10 pounds I got to lose. I'll just get on this quick protein shake diet, and they'll only drink protein shakes until they lose their weight. But they haven't changed their mindset about their weight.
Yep.
So then they lose the weight, maybe more. They're happy for a moment. Then they go back to eating everything, gain the weight back, right? Maybe if not more. But then they go back and do it again. And it's because they're so anxious and so nervous about they got to get this weight off. It's all about just getting the weight off. It's not about making a healthy change. And it's concerning. I mean, it's just doing that constantly. And this is a real true story. I've had a client that would just go on protein shake diets to lose the weight. And then they lose the weight. They say, "Thank you, Corey. I'm good now." They call me in a couple months, and it was like, I just can't control. When I saw a hamburger, I just couldn't control myself. And then it started here, and I had this birthday, and they're seeing me again. I'm trying to explain to them what we're going to do, and then they get frustrated with the weight loss. Right? They're only losing a half a pound, or they're not losing any weight for a little bit, and they're only losing 2 pounds, and then they go back to the protein shake only diet, because that's where they got their instant gratification.
Yeah.
Like, as you know, weight loss as a life, like to change your life, you have to delay that instant gratification. Like you just have to. Like that's that feel of it. Like, yes, we all want to get ripped before summer or whatever, but it's going to take some time. And I just don't think people realize. If they do realize, they just don't care. They'll do whatever it takes to lose that weight. And this is a quick story I was telling you.
Yeah.
I had a patient, right? Had a lot of weight to lose. And I was seeing him for a few weeks, nothing long, just a few weeks. And he was like, "I just don't think this is working. Like I'm not losing any weight." And he's really, really frustrated. It was a very bad session. He was just frustrated. There was no trying to calm him down. He was just very angry.
Mm-hmm.
So, see him in 2 weeks, and no, it was like 3 weeks had passed. Like I was seeing him weekly.
Yep.
And then he canceled. And then he, the third week, he was just on my schedule, and he was there. So, he's in my office, and he's like, "I lost 30 pounds. And I'm like, "Oh, okay. How, like, that's a lot of weight. Okay." And
Mm-hmm.
he was like, "You're not going to believe how I did it. And I really believe this happened. I really believe this." And I'm like, "Oh, well, what'd you do?" He was like, "I got a message on Facebook that said if I shared that message 30 times, my wish would come true. And I shared it with all my friends, and I lost the weight."
Wow. That's not what I expected you to say, Corey. That's definitely not what I expect you to say. Okay.
So
I'm listening.
I look at him and I go, "That's not true. That's not right." Like, there are just some things you just can't play along with. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
That's not why you lost weight. Like, come on. Because you shared a message, like some spam. So you spammed all your friends with this message, and you think
Mm-hmm.
because of that you lost this weight?
Mm-hmm.
No. And I think he was so mad at me that I didn't believe him that he just stopped seeing me. Like,
Did you find out anything else like that he had done, diet wise, in anything else? Like,
Nothing.
wow. Okay. I mean,
Yeah,
I believe in the placebo effect, but that's like, 30 pounds is like, that's about 13 kilos. That's a lot to lose in
yes.
3 weeks.
It's a lot of weight.
That's a lot of weight.
A lot of weight.
Did he look like he lost 30 pounds?
No.
No. Okay.
I would say he was probably, just to give you some context, I would say he's probably 5'10", 5'10" tall, maybe 5'9".
Mm-hmm.
And he was a solid 500 pounds.
Okay.
Like it's like 565, like something like he had a lot of weight to lose, but he just didn't. He didn't want to do it. He was one of those that wanted the quick fix. I need a lot. I have, and a part of me kind of gets it, Rhea, in a way. Like when you're told you could possibly die because you're so overweight, or like, hey, you don't want to die, so like, let's get this off. And then when someone says, hey, we're going to do it the safe way, and we're going to take it slow, you don't really, that doesn't really compute with some people. And I do get that. I do. But it doesn't change the fact that, if you go too fast, the probability of you keeping that weight off and sustaining that weight loss long term is really, really low.
100%. I always say that to people. They're like, oh, I said, well, what have you tried in the past? They're like, oh, Rhea, I'm a yo-yo dieter. I've tried all the diets. I've tried all the fads. And it works. They're like, yeah, it works. I lose the weight, and I noticed in about 4 weeks, I lose the weight. And I said, yeah, and then what happened? And they're like, well, I put the weight back on, and it's always with interest. It's always with interest.
Oh, always.
And that's the thing. And what grinds me is like what you were talking about is the expectations. It's unrealistic expectations, and we can put it on a lot of things, social media.
Oh yeah.
Advertising, like people are trying to sell products, trying to sell their services. So they put up the 1 in a million, hey, look at this transformation in 4 weeks, 8 weeks, 12 weeks, and this person lost this much weight. Wow, look at them go the Biggest Loser programs and things like that, where they're eating so little and exercising for 7-8 hours a day. Like it's so unrealistic. But is that the sort of thing that you see a lot of as well?
Absolutely. And it's like, so before we had this, I knew we were going to be talking about this topic. So I just simply Googled magic pill, magic pill weight loss. Just Google it, just curious. And you can't escape it. There's so much info, so many pills. This pill will help you lose weight fast, clinically proven to help you lose X amount, this, that, and the third. And at the very bottom of the Google search was, magic pills don't exist. But it's at the very bottom. Like, so you have all of this. There's so much stuff out there. And it's for someone who is, trying to lose weight and be healthier, you have to determine what's more important. Is it really getting healthier and doing it the right way? Or do you just want to feel good about yourself by getting on the scale and saying, oh, I lost weight and okay, I feel good right now. If you're okay with just being good right now for that quick second, then fine. But you will feel a lot worse once you start gaining that back, and then you don't want to get on the scale anymore. And then you're wondering what happened. Well, what happened. You tried to take the easy route, and then it was just ended up being harder than you thought.
Yeah, this is the thing. People, and call it lack of education or lack of knowledge being put out there. It's, if you lose the weight too fast, you don't get to keep it. You don't earn it for keeps. If you do it slowly and you do it the right way, and I mean, people are deterred by slow because we're such an instant gratification society. But if you do it the right way, you get to keep the weight off, and also the skin. Because what happens when people lose weight so quickly, it's like, well, hey, your body hasn't had time to adapt. Now you've got loose skin, you've got stretch marks, you've got all these sorts of things that are now drawing your attention more to it. And then that becomes a problem, so your skin goes through this whole process of being stretched out and then shrinking, and then it doesn't have time to adapt. If you do it slowly, the body adapts with the transformation that you're bringing into place as well. When I had a client who recently said, well, no, this is probably the start of the year, she said, Rhea, it's either you or I'm going to do liposuction. And I was like, well, look, let me paint it for you real quick. You do the quick lipo route. It's more likely you'll be back to see me in a year or 18 months. And you'll be in exactly the same position. If not, you'll feel a lot more terrible than you feel. Like if you think you feel terrible now, imagine how you're going to feel when you go through all that prep and then all that process. And then because you haven't eliminated the habits and your mindset around nutrition and health and living the healthy lifestyle, then you're back at square one. So which way would you like to go?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you know what I don't think people really realize is the importance of going through that journey. So I like to tell people that I see, like, you know, our goals go from A to Z, Z being that big goal, right? But you're going to grow so much in between that B to Y, like you're growing so much. And you'll learn more about yourself and how strong you are. That's where people really get to see how strong they are and how like I've had so many patients and so many people that I've talked to or had the been grateful enough to be able to coach them, that through those hard times and being able to look back at it and be like, man, I can't believe that I did that. Or remember that one time where I didn't lose weight I had a lady who didn't lose weight for a whole month. She didn't gain weight, but she didn't lose weight for an entire month. And she was pissed, right? Like she was getting tired of me saying, hey, it's all about the process. You know, it's all about this happens. And she wasn't trying to hear it.
Yeah.
And until it finally broke and she ended up losing about 150 pounds over a year and some change. But in that moment, like as she's going through that, if she were to ever experience that again, now she has that experience to go, okay, I've been here. I know what's going on. Now I have the tools to be able to fight through this. But if you're just doing, the quick fixes or the fat burners or the lipo, you don't have that experience. So like once you have that lipo and then you start gaining that weight back, you don't know what to do. You're like, so then you go deeper into a depression, deeper into a hole because you don't have the tools. When if you could have just went to Rhea the first time and coached her through the tools and helped her through her process, she would know what to do. That war zone is so important for people to go through.
Yeah. It psychologically really messes people up, and it's like even that quick loss, it's like your mind hasn't even had time to catch up with how you look, even with clients who we've managed to do, a nice sustainable weight loss. And then we look back over the year and it's like, all right, you've lost the equivalent of 45 pounds, about 20 kilos throughout this year. It's fantastic. And then I find, well, why are you still wearing these pants that are literally falling off you? Oh, no, because they're fine. What are you talking about? I was like, well, hang on. No, you've lost all this. Like, you're going to need to buy some new clothes. It's a good problem to have. It's like, no, there's a fight. And I'm like, look, these pants are falling off you.
I know.
Like I had a client come in and I saw her in her work clothes and I was like, those pants are like, you're like, there's hanging halfway down your legs. And she didn't see it. And I said, and so I had to go to the extreme. I said, when you get changed, bring me those pants. And so she brought me the pants and I stood in one leg. Like I put myself in one of those legs. And I said, is it now time to get new pants? And she looked at me and she said, wow. All right, I get it now. Because it takes so long for the mind to catch up with how you actually look. Even for me, everyone, no one's exempt from not, it's a process. It really is.
It really is. And even it's a mental, like you're saying, it's a mental thing because I know people, not anybody that I've coached, but and I know people who have lost a lot of weight, and that they're still wearing the same clothes, same thing, looks like they're wearing a tent, because they're afraid to get something smaller, because just in case I gain the weight back, I still have these.
Yeah.
But that's not the mentality to have either.
No.
Like that mentality, yes, you will gain your weight back. If you're just waiting for it to happen, like get the smaller size and say, this is who I am now, period. You know what I mean? Like you said, that's a good problem to have. Like you should be excited. I gotta get new pants. They're like, have fun with it, but don't ever prepare yourself to go backwards. Like that's just not a great mentality to have.
I think it is. It really, more we talk about it, it's that expectation. It's like, you know, people have tried the diets, they've lost the weight, then they've put it back on. So they don't want to get rid of the pants. They don't want to get rid of the clothes, because in their mind, they're already going, yeah, I know I can lose weight because I've done it before, but I also know I've just gone back to square one as well. And it's just that constant thing. You know, when I was 21, I lived with a model. So she was a professional model at the time. And I seen it on even an extreme case. It's like, well, she's got to get photo shoot ready or catwalk ready by Saturday, and it's Wednesday. And then the next thing you do, you know, and I've done this as a young girl, you know, not knowing what the right way to do things. And I'm like, well, I have a party on Saturday, or I want to go out. You know, so I don't eat very much. You know, that's what they say, eat less and exercise more, right? So we do it to the extreme. So I eat very little, and then I get skinny, you know, quote, skinny for the weekend. And then on Sunday, I'm binging out, you know, and then it's a vicious cycle. It really is.
It really is. I'll tell you, I had this experience. So a while ago, actually. So 2014, you know, basketball is my love. Like that's my jam. But I had this competitive itch that I needed to scratch. And I was watching ESPN one day, and the strongman competition was on. And I was like, that looks dope. I want to do strongman, right? I want to compete. Googled it. There was a competition that summer. So I had 8 months to train for this strongman competition. It's called the Iowa Games, right? So like, it's almost like the Iowa Olympics. So you can just compete and you get a gold medal or a silver medal or whatever. So I called the director or the organizer of the strongman competition. And I was like, hey, I want to do this strongman. I'm signing up for it, but I've never trained strongman. I've never competed. What should I do? And he says, eat everything and lift heavy. That was everything. So I'm like, you don't need to say anything else. Like, I ate everything, fast food, all the junk, and I lifted. Well, now this was probably the strongest I've ever been in my life, and also the heaviest. I gained so much weight. I probably gained 40 pounds, right? Not all of that was muscle. I got strong, but I was so overweight. And then, so it got to the point to where strongman competition was over. You know, I scratched that itch. I got strong. Everything was great. And I was still kind of training that way. And then a friend of mine asked me to play basketball, and I almost died. I was like, I'm sitting there, and he's like, Corey, we haven't even started yet. And I'm like, oh God. So then I'm like, okay, now strongman is not for me. I got to get this weight off. So I appreciate and I understand hey, I got to get this weight off now. Like I'm looking like nobody outside of the strongman or powerlifting community or even the gym community knew that I was just a fat guy. I wasn't the strong man in that community. I was. So I got a lot of respect when I went to the gym and I was able to lift heavy weights, and everybody knew, oh yeah, he does strongman. But at work as the health coach, they're like, what's going on? So, you know, that anxiety of wanting to lose it fast was there. So I understand it. Like, I understand, like, hey, I got to get this weight off now because I don't feel good. I don't look good. Shirts are feeling like I have a extra small on. Like I'm not liking myself.
Yeah.
But so I understand that, and I understand that where some people are coming from. But you just have to learn how to fight it off and understand that it's going to come off. Just got to just change a few things. Like you just got to keep repeating to yourself that it's happening. And you know you're in a process and not worry about, people are so worried about what others are saying or thinking about them, right? Because if I was so worried about what someone was thinking about me, even though I knew it, like, you're probably judging me because you think I'm this fat health coach, but that's okay. like, you know, like I know what's going on. Like I know what I'm doing, but some people don't like feel that way, you know, like, oh, they're judging me, or that, you know what I mean? Like you just got to try to fight off the negativity because you got to know where you're going.
So what was that light switch for you then? Because, you know, you're in that predicament and you're wanting to practice what you preach, but you're also wanting a quicker result. So what was that turning point for you, Corey?
Good question. And I want to say that I would love to say that it was so easy that I just didn't have I didn't look at the quick fixes, even though I didn't do any of them. You know, it's in the back of your mind, like, hey, if I just do this real quick, I can drop, you know, some weight really, really fast. But it was really, I guess, knowing that I wanted to do it, like I wanted to do it the right way, just for me. Like it wasn't even as like I want to be a role model for the people that I see. That wasn't necessarily the motivation. It was just, I want to do this the right way, and I didn't have anything to prove. Like, you know, I didn't have anything to prove to anybody. And even if I did, like, who cares? I think you get to that with maturity. Like if I had went through this at 21 or 20, it'd probably be a whole different conversation with myself. I probably would have got all the protein, all the pre-workout, all the fat burners I can get, and to try to get cut super fast.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But as an adult, understanding is like, you know what? I'm just gonna do it the right way for me. And that was eating a balanced diet, took out all the trash out of my diet. So it was kind of easy. Just took out all the fast food, all the trash, kept a little bit because I do, you know, I have a sweet tooth. So, you know, I didn't take it all away. You know, I didn't take it all away. But, you know, all the fast food, all the fried food that, you know, I was eating while I was trying to get stronger, and just was consistent with my workouts, you know, and I just tunnel vision. You know, at some point you gotta get tunnel vision. Just zone in on what your goal is and not worry about everybody else. You know, a lot of my teammates when I played ball always said I had tunnel vision because I didn't pass. And so when you know, when I'm thinking about, you know, my goals, and anybody listening to this, when you're thinking about your goal, you gotta just black out, tunnel vision, and just solely focus on what you have to accomplish and put those things in place to where you don't, you know, stress yourself out. Because I've seen people do it extreme as well, where they get in tunnel vision because they have a goal, but they use a diet that they don't necessarily like. They just heard that their friend on Facebook tried it and lost all this weight, so they're trying it and they hate it.
Yeah.
But they're zoned in on it, but they hate every single moment of it, right? So that's also not going to help you in the long run. But, you know, get the pieces that you enjoy that are, you know, balanced, and then just zone out.
So what was what was the timeline really for you to start to see those results when you zoned in on that tunnel vision?
You know what, for me, I really didn't have one. I didn't have a time. I was like, you know what, I'm just going to change. I'm going to go back to how I was eating, how I was exercising, and it's just going to happen. And then I didn't really weigh myself for the first couple months.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess I don't mind weighing myself. I do it every day just to make sure I'm keeping and maintaining my weight. But for the first couple months, I just kind of just left it alone. But little things, like I would just see how my pants were fitting. You just starting to see how I felt. That was the biggest thing, like seeing how I felt. And then just really trying to just be mindful of how I was feeling. So I didn't really have I'm trying to think of the day that I knew, like, okay, things are different, but I really didn't have a time frame. Like I think most people can get themselves into trouble if they put deadlines on their health, right? Like, this is a forever game. That's the thing that I like to say. This is a forever game. So I wasn't training for a competition. I wasn't, training for anything. So I was just trying to get my health back in check and get and feel better. And then I knew the weight was going to come off as long as I stayed focused. So there really wasn't a time frame. And it worked out for me.
Well, that's good. And that's because you I guess you had the knowledge and know-how. You've seen it with your patients, and you knew ultimately you had that expectation that it was going to take some time, and I guess that took the pressure off.
Well, that and it's the experience of, I used to track everything. Like I know how much. I used to have 8 ounces of chicken with my lunch and 4 ounces of this here. I would weigh and measure everything. So I just kind of knew where I had to go back to.
Mm-hmm.
That was healthy. And I knew if I stuck with this and I got rid of the junk, it was going to work out. Like, I was probably eating, oh my gosh, I was eating a lot. Like, I was eating a lot. So it was like, I just knew if I got rid of all of this and just stuck with, a balanced diet of nothing crazy, have a protein, have some fruit, have some veggies, you know what I mean? Drink plenty of water, exercise. I knew I was going to be good. So I wasn't really concerned of getting on the scale and being like, I only lost a half a pound. Like that wasn't even a concern for me. It was just I knew once I got back on track and got rid of the things that was contributing to the weight gain, I knew I'd be all right.
Yeah. It sounds so simplistic, and I think that's why a lot of people get bored with it. They want some like new and exciting, fun way to lose weight.
Yes.
I find, in my clinic, it's easier for me to try to illustrate the process when they're coming to me for that advice. What I struggle with is when it's a friend or a family member.
Yes.
And they're like, all right, Ria, let me in on the secret sauce. Like, how are you lean all year round? And I was like, well, you know me, you see how I eat, you see my lifestyle. There really is I'm not holding out on you. Like, if there was a magic pill I could give you that I truly believed in, that was, not going to cause detrimental effects down the track, like, I wouldn't be holding out on you, And I had a really, it was quite a difficult conversation for me to have with a friend of mine who said, after she'd had her last child, she'd put on, about 45 pounds, about 20 kilos. And I said, well, all right, like, let's have a talk about how you can, lose that weight. She's like, no, I'm all good. My doctor's given me a pill, and I'll say it. I'm sure you've heard a lot, people get prescribed a lot, Duramine, right? and it's a suppressant, and it's like going back to my model friend. She had all sorts of appetite suppressants that her agent used to give her and things like that, and doctors prescribe it to help you lose weight and things like that. And so because she'd had success with a previous pregnancy, she'd taken it, lost the weight real quick, and then somehow managed to maintain a slightly lower weight than normal, mostly from under eating and over exercising. She was happy to go back to that same protocol again after this. So I guess it's, what would you say to the person when you're trying to, I guess, encourage them to take a greener path, a path that's going to be a more sustainable venture for them?
So that's a very good question, and it's a very hard answer.
Yeah.
Because, like, part of me wants to just have them just do it, and then I'll see you when I see you, right? And I know that's probably not the right thing to say as a health coach, like, but you get these people that are so adamant, like they don't want to hear you. They just want to just give me the pills and I'm good.
Yeah.
And I just know, like, all right. Part of me is like, all right, well, best of luck. I hope you have success. But if you need me, I'm here. And then, like clockwork, couple months, 3-4 months maybe, I get an email that they need help. Matter of fact, I posted an email from a patient on LinkedIn. This was months ago. That this exact scenario. They were trying to this is quick fix. They wanted the quick fix. They didn't want to talk about a balanced eating plan, nothing. Out of the blue, get an email, Corey, I need your help. I can't do it. It just went downhill. And now was I like, yes, I told you, I knew it. Like, no, like I wasn't, I'm not, it doesn't feel good to be like, hey, sometimes you just have to learn on your own, because only so much I can tell you. I can give you the information and say, hey, this is, if you're asking my thoughts, because a lot of they do say, hey, what do you think about this fat burner? Or what do you think about this appetite suppressant?
Yeah.
I'll give you my opinion. If you choose to continue to do it, that's on you, right? I mean, I can't like threaten them, or, I can only say, hey, I don't think it's the right way because of these reasons. It's their choice to be like, to hear me and then go, I'm still going to do it. I was like, all right, fine. But I'm here. So the only thing I can do is just say, I'm here if or when you need me. And the majority of the time, they are either coming back, or they come back but later, but they say, I wanted to come back earlier, but I felt ashamed.
Yeah.
Because it didn't work. And as a health coach and a health educator, like, honestly, weight loss isn't really my main concern. It's making sure you understand how to get there, like in teaching you where you need to and coaching you along the way. The weight loss is gonna come, like it's gonna come off. But if you don't know how to get there and you're just taking these side roads to get to your destination, it's gonna be hard.
Yeah. I agree with you. I think that was a really good response, because, we have to try our best as health coaches not to take it personal. And I've really learned that lesson over the years, because before it would upset me, because you and I want to put our superhero capes on and we want to help everyone,
Yes.
right? But not everybody
Absolutely.
wants it and or not ready to receive it. So when they
right.
And that's a common question I get too. It's like, oh, what do you think of this supplement? What do you think of this? What do you think about that? And I was like, well, look, these are my thoughts. If I know about it, I'll give them my honest opinion. And if it's something that I feel will be detrimental to them. So the last person I had success with who came with me who said I was going to take Duromine. And I said, okay, that's fine. Actually, he was going to take an illegal substance actually. And I said to him, look, I want you to do your due diligence and research it first. Okay. I know your mates told you that that's okay. And, you're going to get quick results and that's all well and good, but what goes up must come down. So please do me a favor and do all your research first about these things that you want to put into your body, and then come back to me and let me know if that's still what you want to do. And he did. He came back to me and he said, all right, I went and learned about all of these things that I was thinking about doing, and I don't want to take that risk. And I was like, great, because I mean, it is one thing for us to tell them, but it's the other for them to actually like do the research and educate themselves on better ways to do things. And yeah, that's that fine line that I've also had to learn, exactly what you were speaking about is if you're going to do that anyway, that's fine. Like, I'm not going to judge you for that. And if you need me, and in time, please don't hesitate to come back and ask or shoot me an email or anything like that. Like, we're here, we genuinely care and we genuinely want to help. So yeah.
I agree with what you're saying about taking it personal as a health coach, because as a young coach, it just hit different. Like when someone like, you don't want to take my advice, like you don't think I'm a good coach, like and you're like, it hurts because you want to help and you believe that they're doing the wrong thing, or you may think you can help them, but in a sense, in a way, by telling them, hey, I support you, I'm here when you need me, you are helping them. You're letting them know, like, hey, go out and do, if you want to do it, you can do it. But I'm here. If they come back and say, you know what, I thought about it, I'm not really feeling it, I kind of want to do this the right way. Perfect. I'm still here. Let's work.
Yeah. Well, Corey, I think that you've definitely been someone who's been able to summon their superhuman, and is someone who's still working on continually growing as a superhuman in this world. Let people know where they can continue to find your content. Where do we find you?
Yes, so you can find me. I'm pretty consistent on LinkedIn. So if you just search Corey Dion Lewis, you can find me there. On Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Health Coach Lou. You can find me there. You can go to my website, healthcoachlou.com, and my podcast, the Healthy Project Podcast.
That's right. If you haven't already, check out season 2, episode 5. We talked everything.
I've gotten so many emails about that episode.
The last dance mindset.
Yeah, man.
Good feedback, I hope.
Oh, great feedback. Mm-hmm. Great feedback. People are like, I gotta watch this podcast. This is great. Or yeah, and then it's just from really there's some, but it was just value. There's a lot of value in that podcast. So absolutely. Yes, definitely go check it out. The Last Dance Mindset. You will not be disappointed.
And the 13th of May, we also did one, Building a Better You. So
that's right.
We're all about that, building a better you. And do you have any parting words or any advice you'd like to give to people in terms of how they can potentially tap into their superhuman potential?
Oh, that's a good one. How can they tap into their superhuman potential? I think if you're listening to this podcast and you've already made that first step of wanting to improve yourself at something, we're talking about weight loss here, but there's something that you want to improve. So that first step, you've already kind of taken it by taking the time to listen, but just what I said earlier, getting tunnel vision and just focus on what you have to focus on and no one else. And you can make drastic changes and just understand that whatever your goal is, it's a forever game, and everybody's constantly learning, constantly improving. And as long as you can keep that mindset of knowing that you're constantly going to be learning and improving, you will win.
Beautiful.
Boom. Mic drop.
That's right. Let's go. Let's do it. Make change. Make it happen.
Yes,
thank you
absolutely.
so much, Corey. You honestly, I really appreciate your time. And listen back, people. The Healthy Project podcast. Get onto it. He's dropping bombs
Yes.
every week. So, and we are here as well. So thanks a
Awesome.
lot, Corey.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Ria. Awesome. The first podcast. How does it feel?
Amazing. Seriously. Amazing.